Can you believe all the rain? I mean, I was thinking as I was coming over here, that's the fun thing about this time of year. You get in and you see all of you reconnecting and re-engaging with each other, and it's just a fun thing. And so I'm so delighted you're here. Thank you for being courageous enough to walk across the campus and do the things you're doing. And we've got a lot to celebrate. I think this is the worst we've ever had. We've only had rained out one time. That was last year. And so I don't know who to award the credit to, but to Catherine Pritchard. She says, I'm going to make a comment. Stand up, Catherine. I'm going to make a comment. And that was yesterday. She said, I'm going to say, what did you say? You were going to, it was going to rain or not going to rain? Did it work? It didn't work. But I'll tell you what, our folks have been working really hard to get everything put together for you so you'll enjoy the day. I don't know about you, but this is one of the best days of the year, and that we all come back together to do the great work that we do. There's so much to be done. When you stop and take a look at what is going on, not only in our community, but in the world, it needs people who are absolutely 100% dedicated to doing the things together that we need to do together to ensure a brighter future. And if we do that, then I think everything will take care of itself. I thank you, Richard, and your team for making sure it's not leaking in here. When I grew up, I never forgot this. I made a decision early on in my life. I said, one of these days I'm gonna grow up, and when it rains, I'm gonna live in a house that I don't have to put pots all throughout the house to catch the water, and because they would keep me awake at night all night long. I grew up in North Florida, so when I hear the rains out there, first of all, I'm celebrating it because we've been dry for way too long. But then secondly, to know that we're able to come in these buildings and enjoy, warmth and coolness and dryness and so forth. That's not something that just happens. It takes a lot of talented people to make that happen. And so some of them are here today. Some of them are out and about. They're streaming this, I think. So some people are still enrolling students and registering students. And so as we always do, we just adapt and make it happen the way it's supposed to happen. So welcome back. I'm delighted you're here, and I'm going to share with you a number of things today. First of all, welcome. It is literally a joy to see you. A lot of people have been working hard every day since the summers have gone, and we finished up with the commencement exercise, as you know, in May. And then business has not stopped. My family and my friends in other parts of the country, they say, well, are you going to take summer off and come and visit us and spend some time with us? You can spend about 2 months with us. And I always laugh and I tell them we're busier probably in the summer than we are during the year because all the things that come about that we're able to do during the year, so much of that takes place in the summer with the people that are here. All the people in student services and anyone who's had anything to do with registration, stand up. Please stand up. I want to tell you something. Stand up. Stay standing. Stay standing. You too. Stand up. I know what you've been doing. And I'm telling you, it is phenomenal as to what these people have been doing. And truthfully, it's phenomenal what everybody's been doing, certainly those that have been here. So thank you for your efforts. I told you I'd always tell you the truth as I know it. And I've done that. And when things have been looking really good, I've told you. And when they've been looking pretty bad, I've told you. And I tell you what that means in terms of budget. I tell you what it means in terms of services to students. And I tell you what it means in terms of employment. And so you guys listened. We're not where we need to be yet. Had 167 yesterday. 167 yesterday. We're hoping to really punch that up, in the next few days. And there's some targets that we're going to have to hit. But I'm telling you, I'm extremely proud of what everybody has done working together to try to get to where we need to be. And it's not just compared to last year. We're beginning to suffer from the sins of last year and a thing called the pandemic. But we're at least making some progress going back, and that's a credit to everybody who's been involved. So please give all these folks and yourselves a round of applause. This guy back here on the top row thinks I don't know what he's been doing, but I think he's been in every nook and cranny in Cumberland County and beyond, trying to say, okay, there's an opportunity in criminal justice. Come see us. So Jeff Sack, well done, well done. All right. So I'll talk a little bit more to you about some of the accomplishments we've enjoyed this year and some of the challenges we're going to face next year. But by the same token, you've done extremely well. I'm going to share with you now the State of the College video that shows you where we've been. And I think just as importantly, it's an indicator of where we could go in the future. So if you don't mind, go ahead and initiate it.
What does success look like? Like so many things. At Fayetteville Technical Community College, it might be finishing a hard homework assignment, passing your last exam, mastering a particular skill, even gathering the courage to ask for help. FTCC is committed to helping you succeed, whatever it takes. That's because we know what success looks like. It looks like you.
I believe in doing the best I can with the cards I've been dealt. When I graduated high school, I knew going to community college was the way to go. I looked at all the local community colleges, but I needed a school that has a high acclaim for its business and marketing programs, but also an atmosphere that was inclusive and helping. I knew that Fayetteville Tech had the best courses and atmosphere for me. I loved the business classes, but knew that being a pure businessman wasn't the way for me, so I went into marketing. Coming straight out of high school, I was having a bunch of struggles before I asked questions and got help. I had issues with time management and managing the assignments I had. Thanks to the FTCC Quality Enhancement Plan's Trojan Success Program, I was matched with a success coach, and she led me in the right direction and gave me advice on how to complete my assignments on time while not burning myself out doing them. For me, FTCC has reinforced that success is the combination of putting your work into something and getting the best possible outcome. Perhaps the most important part of learning how to be successful is knowing when to ask for help.
I define success as being able to overcome obstacles, trials, and tribulations in order to achieve your goals. FTCC gave me the vision of success in my life by ensuring that I received the resources to be successful in my educational journey. When my daughter was in her sophomore year of school, she wanted to give up on her dreams. And I wanted to set the example of what it looks like not to. My goal has always been to work with children. I knew that for me to reach my goal, I would have to earn a degree. I chose FTCC because here in the community, rather than attending an online school that I never even heard of. I am now a teacher assistant with Cumberland County Schools, working with special needs children, and my confidence level has increased by attending FTCC. I graduated from FTCC in the adult high school program in 2016. My teachers encouraged me to pursue an associate degree here as well. Being a mother, a wife, and employee while attending school was not easy, but it was worth the tears and the late night studying. The mentors that I met along the way at FTCC have opened up doors that I never saw opening up for me before. I don't have to be afraid to want better for my life and my family's life as well.
Art and design are woven into my life, and I'm happy when I'm creating new things every day. When I decided to restart my education from where I left off, FTCC was the natural choice for me because the campus is nearby, the tuition's affordable. My husband graduated from the welding program, and he really encouraged me in my pursuit of self-growth. I had some really tough times, but I refused to give up on the goals I set for myself. The excellent instructors and wealth of knowledge and experience they have from working in the field helped me push through. I finished my program with a 4.0 GPA and highest honors. There are a lot of ways to get involved with the community at FTCC. I came out of my shell and was able to get to know a lot of the other students and made some lifelong friends through the graphic design club. Group critiques and competitions helped me gain confidence as a designer. One of my favorite projects was painting the FTCC food pantry mural for the foundation. I have an ever-changing idea of success. Each time I attain my goals, I reevaluate my idea of what I think of success. In my opinion, a successful person is the one who continues to grow their knowledge and utilizes their potential for the greater good.
To me, success means you achieve the lifestyle you want, where you want it. You move through life and achieve your innermost goals without doubt. I grew up in a military family. Mom and dad both served, and I was contracting overseas in Afghanistan as an aircraft mechanic. When I returned to the States, I wanted a career change. IT seemed like a good field with a lot of opportunities. FTCC provides a variety of IT certifications, and they offer the exact certification plan I was looking for. I enrolled in the Transition Tech program for veterans and began on my path for a future in IT. The Red Hat System Admin certification FTCC provides has helped me understand the IT field. The faculty taught us to understand complex concepts of computer language and code by relating them to everyday terms and situations. Breaking down a complex idea or term you're not familiar with and comparing it to something you do or see often makes it easier to understand. FTCC confirmed that you can have multiple avenues to success through a degree or networking with people who are in the career field you want to be in.
With our wide variety of programs serving more than 28,000 students every year, FTCC can help you define your success.
Janan and everybody in our media and graphic arts area, Catherine, Richard, all the players, stand up and be recognized. You know, most of these things are done internally. They're done here, and we could spend a ton of money, and I mean a ton of money, just having things like that done. That is far more complex than it looks. It engages more people than you can imagine. But the truth of the matter is, I hope what you saw up here is the heart-to-heart reality of what we do every day. These are very articulate people who've done some great things and will do greater things as the future unfolds. But the point of the matter is that it takes all of us to make it happen. And so that is, I think, something you can be very, very proud of. And as I finish my last year here at FTCC, I can tell you that I'm very proud of what each of you have done. And for me, the culmination in 2022 is something I could look back on in my history and thank the many great people like these that have been recognized for doing the great work they do. We put these people under untenable stress. I mean, they're out here at night, they're out here on the weekends, they're out here when I'm in my office at night and I look across, I can see Janan's and Brad's offices and so forth, and they're here many times when I am. Sometimes I don't turn my light on, I still know they're here. I mean, they just don't know I'm looking. But the point being, thank you for what you've done and what you've done together to try to represent us well to the rest of the world out there. So please give them another round of applause. Thank you. Well, we've got a lot to celebrate today, and I'm going to try to not do death by PowerPoint, but again, welcome back. We're delighted you're here. The purpose here today is to highlight the achievements you've enjoyed. Some of that you saw up there on that State of the College video. Don't take that too lightly. That wouldn't have happened had it not been for you. And I don't care if you didn't teach a day in the lives of these people that were represented up there, you had something to do with it, every single one of you. And so it's one of those things, you've got a lot to celebrate. You can celebrate last year, but just as we always do, one of the people up there, a number of the people up there talked about goals. And that is so important because unless we have goals to accomplish, without a vision, the people perish, that old statement. But at the same time, without goals, we never accomplish what we could accomplish. So the point being, we're having goals this year. We want to look forward to the future. But we understand that we're not here on our own volition. We're not here because of our own talent, our own purpose, or whatever. We're here and frankly stand on the shoulders of a lot of people who have come before us. And so I always want to take time to recognize those and honor those that have gone before us. Some have made that transition and passed away and moved on, but they've left a legacy of which you and I are a part. And then I would hope that we are worthy of the efforts that they put in and the legacy that they leave. So I want to remember those individuals that are no longer with us. Unfortunately, Jason Johnson, one of our assistant coaches in men's basketball, passed away August 10th, 2022. And this young man was involved with us for a period of time and had a lot to do with the growth and development of these young men who are in men's basketball and have played well. And again, it's the effort that he and Brian Hurd and so many others have made in the lives of these young people that will carry on, not only here, but into the world, as you'll see later. Catherine Chavis, our biology instructor, as you know, Catherine retired in 2003 after 10 years of service, and she passed away March 23rd, 2022. Again, a longtime person who's done a lot of work for so many. And really, when you take a look at what she did in biology and had the impact it had on the healthcare community, she was doing some things very, very successfully. Ethelyn Page helped establish the surgical technology program. She retired in 94 after 21 years of service and unfortunately passed away March 4th, 2022. Again, she established something that has gone on long before her. And the truth is, each one of us, that's what we're doing. What we're doing today and what we're doing now, regardless of our capacities, we're going on long beyond us. And that's what we're here for. That's why we do what we do. Ethelyn Page was one of those winners. Tara Washington, you remember that $1 Million Smile. College and Career Readiness Program Coordinator, 22 years of service at FTCC. And we lost her March 14th, 2022. Beautiful smile as always. And yet when you look at the way she enjoyed the eating and all that kind of thing that I've teased about in the past, point being, she's missed, but she's not forgotten. And what is true is just like DNA and the genes in our bodies, our ancestors and those that influenced us will carry forth. She is one of those that will carry on very well. Stephen Bihag, one of our security officers, this guy, I don't know how old Officer Bihag was when he retired from here, but I want to tell you, it didn't matter if I was here at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, at 6 o'clock in the morning, or when. It didn't matter if it was Saturday or Sunday. It didn't matter if it was Friday night. Stephen Bihag was there. One of the things I remember about him is I was crossing after we had a foundation event one night. It was late. And he's out there in the middle of the street, stopping cars and letting people who are attending our foundation events and doing work. Those gentlemen are worth their weight in gold. He did a great service to this college and to each of you. And had he ever had to have confronted anybody, there's no doubt in my mind that he would have done it. And he was older. But I want to tell you what, there was no one braver than that man right there and the work that he did for us. So Stephen Bihag, I'll tell you what, we appreciate you. Linnell Grissom, many of you didn't know her. She worked in the Military Business Center, but extraordinarily talented lady, had some physical issues, and she ultimately retired after 16 years of service with the North Carolina Military Business Center under the leadership of Scott Dorney. But I'll tell you what, she passed away October 31st, but the impact that she had on people, many of whom will never know her name, and quite frankly, on you and me, is significant because she helped grow and build contractors that serve the military and others. Lola Martinez, I did not know her well. She was a secretary too in business services and small business center. She retired in 2009 after 20 years of service and then worked 2 more years in part-time capacity. You know, again, what's the impact of her involvement with the faculty and the staff, not only there, but other places throughout our community, and the impact that she'll carry on through her influence and the things that she did to help people. When you look at Brenda K. Panter, you know, instructional lab technician in biology, retired in 2009 after 24 years of service. She passed away October 4th. Again, the things that she set up for people, and really when you take the extension of that and what people learn as a result of those laboratories being set up properly, and they've gone on, and I'm sure that many of them are medical doctors now and other leaders in the healthcare field at many, many different levels. Linda Love, security officer. We don't have a picture of Linda, but I remember her $1 million smile. She was here. I remember being afraid when I saw her drive around on a golf cart. She seemed to run into things with that golf cart. I was always worried about her running into me. But the point being, she always did it with a smile. And so Linda Love was one of those great people. She just loved being around. She could light up a room when she walked in. And one of those individuals that, you know, we've missed, but by the same token, she did a great job while she was here. And again, her smile and the ways that she did things, even though people can't name her name, will carry on. You know, so I love this statement. It says, grief never ends, but it changes. It's a passage, not a place to stay. Grief is not a sign of weakness, nor a lack of faith. It is the price of love. Written by some anonymous author somewhere. And, you know, most likely, I know I'm going to be a faded memory when I leave here, you know, and not in the not too distant future, and that's okay. But what we do together over time, as represented by these people, would be an indicator that we're doing things together that matter. Yes. I'm sorry? I did not know that. Daisy, thank you for telling us that. Shapur Dalashahi, I always try to put an extra W in it for whatever. Long-term faculty member here in the business area, has did some great work for us for so many years. Taught economics. Oh, I know. You know, but he did great work for us for so many years, and thank you for letting us know that. That had not come to me, but thank you for letting me know. So again, we all stand on the shoulders who came before, and by the way, you're providing the foundation for the people that will follow you. And so I think that's a high point of what we've got to remember and understand as we go forward this year. And we're going to face some challenges, there's no question. But by the same token, now some people I saw roll their eyes like the Baptist preacher taking a watch off up there and say, we're in store for about a 3-hour lecture. I hope I don't give you 3 hours anyway. But the point being is that, you know, you're providing the foundation of these people that we're talking about have provided for us. And we're doing far greater things than we've ever done before. We're getting into areas that are advanced. And the point being, that's where we need to be. So the point being is that continue to do that with pride and celebrate your achievements. When you take a look at this spring commencement, it's a wonderful time. It's the first time we've ever been able to get back in the Crown Center in a number of years. And quite frankly, the joy that people experienced when they were there, even though from a numbers perspective, we might have been down a little bit, I'll tell you what, the great work that people did to make that happen is something to behold. And how many weeks did you have to do that, Marlena? What does that mean? I know it was a matter of weeks, that you didn't have a whole year. People need to understand it usually takes a year to plan these things out. There are so many moving parts, and many of you are involved in it. As a matter of fact, most of you are involved in it. Point being that it takes a leader somewhere. Marlena and her team, they do that and do that quite well in concert with everybody else. So you see the numbers up there. They're significant. We've got to get higher again, and we will as we get back to some degree of normality. But the point being, when you take a look at the faces on this and the joy that was there that day is something to be proud of. These are the numbers. I swear if you'd have known me many, many years ago, you'd have said that boy will never look at numbers a day in his life, but you got to. And I tell you what, I'm very proud of many of these areas. And, you know, I told you I'm going to tell you the truth as I know it. And the truth is, we're doing exceptionally well in some of these, and some of them we're not. And quite frankly, I know they're difficult areas, but we're going to have to figure that out because we can't continue to use the reason, well, it's just hard and people are dumb. No, we can't do that. Others are figuring it out. We've got to figure it out. And we're making progress. We're up, we're down, and so forth. But a lot of these are up significantly. As we look at math, for example, especially in the developmental or is listed as remedial math here, which is what it really is. The truth of the matter is we've got to get better, folks. We're looking down here at a 57% pass rate in remedial math, 27% failure rate. Where'd all those people go that didn't pass? We shut off access to the future for them. Now, does that mean to say give them a grade? Not at all. As a matter of fact, exactly the opposite. But it means that they and we must go the extra mile to really make that happen. So you take a look at those numbers. They'll be available to you later, and you can see where we need to celebrate, and you can see where we need some correction. Now, am I beating up on math faculty? Not at all. They've got a hard job. It's one of the harder curricula that we have out there. We understand that. We know that. But I'm telling you what, we've had people in that department for a long time that have done exceptionally well. It can be done. We just need to do it. And my recommendation to you, when I used to play football a long time ago, we used to have a statement. Our coaches would come and tell us, don't read and remember your headlines too long. Celebrate the night you win the game or the day you win the game. Work out the kinks and the soreness and the injury the next day, and then get ready to play again on Monday. And that started on Sunday afternoon. And so we need to do the same thing. There's a lot to celebrate here, but there's a lot to be done here as well. And so it's not just with the people in mathematics, it's the people throughout our entire academic and continuing education area. But we've done well. We need to do better. Mark brought something to me yesterday, and I'm always after him and other folks. Okay, how are we doing compared to the standard? And a lot of people want to compare ourselves to the standard at the lowest end. That is not what we need to do. We're better than standard at the lowest end, the baseline. We're better than that. But my Lord, folks, when do we start defining ourselves by the baseline? We need to define ourselves by what's excellent. Because when we do that as an institution, as a people, then we go out and do a much, much better job. We serve people much more effectively. We help people move into the future more confidently and far more prosperously. So is prosperously a word? I don't even know. But the point being is we can help them get richer, which helps them help their families and friends and loved ones, take their place in society and do well. So those numbers are a lot to celebrate, but at the same time, it should tell us we've got a lot to do as well. And therein is the difference between those who are champions and the ones that go along. A champion is the one who will go out and say, in the last 2 seconds of the game, throw me the ball. Let me make the shot. Let me make the hit. Let me do what I need to do to contribute to the win. Now, we have a lot of people in this room that fall in that category, if not most. We just need to continue to do it day in and day out, and these things will improve. Well, allied health technologies, I love to see 100% pass rates. I know everybody can't do that, but I love to see it when I see it. Michelle Walden and your staff, congratulations. You look at all these things here and you look at respiratory therapy, it's doubled its effort in trying to serve respiratory people. We're working with Cape Fear Valley, and quite frankly, what they're doing, they went out and what was it, Mark? They went out and did a survey, and 45 people in Cape Fear Valley said, yeah, I'd like to take advantage of opportunity. We expanded the program, so we're doing that for everybody who wants to go into that area. I've had more doctor's appointments in the last 2 months than I've had my entire life. That doesn't mean to say I'm going to pass out in front of you. I hope that I don't anyway. But I've had, in the last 2 years, I've had back surgery. I had head surgery. The other day, somebody asked me a while ago what was going on with my head. I said, I don't know. I feel like a poodle that they've been shaving out there, but somebody told me yesterday, said, well, you must have been running from Vicki and she hit you with a bat. I said, well, that probably could be. I've done that before. But then somebody else in their wisdom said, well, no, just tell them that you had a tattoo put on your head. And I thought, that's a pretty good idea. I think I might, you told me that, so I might do that. But the point being is that when I've gone through those examples, as one as recently as 2 weeks ago, and I'm experiencing, the healthcare community to include allied health, to include nursing, medicine, and other things. I don't always tell them who I am when I go in, but they figure it out. And they'll come in and say, I'm one of your graduates. I'm one of your students. Actually, they sent me to Pinehurst one day, and I was over there, and they had to do a CT scan on my lungs and all that, and I'm okay, but other than just old, they said, just normal age-related things, that's what's wrong with you. But the point being, this young lady in there, one of the most competent people I've ever seen do this work, she came in, and she didn't tell me where she was from, and I said, where'd you get your training? Because she was outstanding. And she said, oh, I got my degree at FTCC. I lived in Laurinburg, and then I traveled back and forth from Laurinburg, and then I had my first child, and I had to get something closer. She worked here at Cape Fear Valley for a long time. She had to get something closer to her where she lives so she could take care of her son. And so the point being, when you experience things like that, the things I'm telling you, they're not out of the world. They're true. Because the very people that serve you and me and help us when we're in our most difficult times are all around us. We just don't know it. I looked at Pam Scully just then. Everybody who was involved in helping us recover from Mike Stevens, you stand up, you and everybody that was in my office here about, what was it, 2 days ago? When the internet went down in one of the busiest times, stand up. Everybody that was in there, you guys impressed the heck out of me. Stand up. Stand up, Pam. You were involved in it. Catherine, you were involved in it. Mark, you were involved in it. Robin, Richard, you were involved in it. And everybody to watch these people work together to come up and solve issues that could have had us down in one of the most important. You guys need to stand up. You know what they started doing? He came in and told me, he said, well, we're right in the middle of our big, I'm still president, y'all stand up. I just love doing that. But anyway, they came in and it was a sight to behold. No one expected this. There were some fishy things going on, not only for us, but all of Southeast North Carolina. And then I think north of Atlanta in a lot of ways, and south of Atlanta in a lot of ways. And so there's some fishy things going on. No one's really told us what it was. But to watch these people come with their expertise and interact with each other and figure out, they actually went to where they were using paper spreadsheets to continue to enroll and register students. Good on you. That's the way to do it. You adapt and you overcome. This guy here, he learned, well, he knows this already, but he learned very quickly. I said, how long is it going to take us to get back once they were figuring it out? He said, it'd be a couple of hours. And so we were further on into the conversation. I said, okay, so by this time, he said, well, I said a few hours. No, he didn't. He said a couple of hours. He made it. In a couple of hours, they were up and down, but he was on the phone with everybody working. She and Raj, where's Raj? Raj, where is he? He stepped out. Mark that down on his performance evaluation. She said he's working. So the point being is that he went home in order to access the internet that was up and running, I guess through Spectrum or something like that, to post on the website that they could still do remote registration. Give these folks a hand. They did it exactly the way it should have been done. Well done. Well done. When you look at allied health technologies, I tell you, there's a lot of great things going on over there. Arts and humanities, I'll tell you what, public speaking competition went over there, 175 of our students, many of you were there to watch them. They did it extremely well. When you look at Dr. Sonny Kelly and Tori Quizamundo, professional development on creating learning communities, which that's not new, that's been around a long time. We just need to remind ourselves how to do that and do it well. So stand up and be recognized. I see you over there, Tori. Stand up, Tori. Sonny back here in the back, and thank you, man. I'll tell you what, appreciate you guys and what you're doing. And when you really take a look at the 4th Annual Literary Festival that the College of Albemarle and Shane Wilson spoke at it. Is Shane here? Don't see. Look at, where's Daniel Stewart? Is he here? Stand up, Dan, if you can. There you go. Give him a round of applause. So proud of what you have done and what you've initiated, you and Melinda Pash and so many others, in terms of what you're doing to bring about an understanding of the history that helped form all of us. I think it's an important thing to do. We need to do more of that as we go into the future. As far as business is concerned, a number of different things with industry recognized certification exams that really is what the people who hire pay attention to. That's an important thing. 89% certified electronic health record specialists and so forth. You go on and on in terms of business. We might had some modifications, but the truth is we're going to continue to grow and develop in that realm. Computer information technology, cybersecurity, of course, you see that over there. I'll tell you what, this thing on artificial intelligence is taking up more and more. And I'm just a country boy, but when I'm having conversations like I did yesterday with people about artificial intelligence and its impact on what we're doing and the cyber security that we experience here, had it with you, Mike and others yesterday. I mean, those are the kinds of things that we're here. So we're not some Ned in the 3rd grade reader, country boy out there from North Florida that, like me, that's just out there trying to figure out where to go. There's a lot of this stuff happening at this college right here, right now. And so the point being, some really great things that are going on. We are involved with the Social Interactive Learning at Community Colleges project in concert with Carnegie Mellon University out of Pennsylvania. Now, here's the thing about that. In addition to that, there were speakers down at the NISOD event in Austin, Texas in July, which is not the time to be in Austin, but they went anyway. And they were recognized. We had 4 or 5 speakers I'll show you here in a little while, but Carnegie Mellon came up and told Mark was there, Dr. Sorrells, and they said, my God, said, we're talking about this stuff and you guys are doing it. Now hear what I just said. We're talking about this. Carnegie Mellon, one of the highest ranked universities in the world. And they made that comment to our people when they were in Austin, Texas. And they want to partner with us because of it. And we are going to partner. That's the difference. You're not your grandma's community college or your grandpa's community college. And we're going to continue to try to grow into things that people need. Part of that still is basic skills and literacy skills. But so much more of it is where do they go when they get them? That means something, and that's what we're about. You've seen a number of other things up there. They had a meeting earlier this week with the head of DIT for the entire state of North Carolina that said you got 45,000 people that need better information on what to do just in state government. Am I right? Just in state government. And they need training, and here's the word. And as much as we love know before or hate it, I'm not sure which, they said we need something better. Can you guys build it? And if we can, they're going to look at finding additional resources in addition to the $11 million to make that happen and make it recurring funding so we can continue to try to stay up, if not ahead of, the difficulties that we face out there in the IT arena. It's real. And yet we're distinguishing ourselves to where we understand enough. Terry Herring and his team and Tanette Previtt and her team and all of them are working together to make this happen with everybody else. So that's an extraordinarily important thing. We're getting great feedback from that, and that organization has continued to blossom. Look at the winners here. Haley Greenwald and James Song. I love seeing things like this. I love seeing things like this where they go out and they do well and other people recognize them. Not because they have to, but because they've earned it. And so when we do that and you take a look at the Mercedes-Benz campus program. What you don't know is that we've been working on that for over a year. Now I have no idea what what Sandy Ammons has to do with automotive, but frankly, it was a conversation with her regarding one of our great sponsors, who's Mercedes-Benz, on our golf tournaments and other things that led to a conversation with me and other people, and ultimately led to being certified. And we're trying to get into diesel mechanics to a greater degree, as well as EVs as they continue to unfold and move forward. So when you really look at this, it's a situation where we can do some things. You renovate the interior of one of our buses. We've got so many buses now, I don't even know which one they're talking about. Just don't put gas in the diesel tank anymore. Whoever did that, but Richard, he didn't do it, but he's responsible for it. But the point being is, as we do that, we're developing and growing in ways that are really important to the nation. When we take a look at all this, it's important. We look at math and sciences; those are important areas, and they're the foundation for just about everything we do, to include that in communication. So take a look at what we're doing. We're going to engage with other partners in this. We had conversation with people that were running a program out of Baylor University last year from NASA, trying to figure out exactly what are we doing at the 2-year level to try to address the issues that we have with respect to the things that we're doing as it comes to space exploration. You know where they were talking about? They weren't talking about the moon. They were talking about Mars. And we could very well be a part of that study to figure out what the regular human being is going to do, who is a technician who goes to space to keep this stuff running. It's not going to be a PhD engineer or a mathematician. It's going to be somebody like us. And so the point being, now is the time to develop those things. So some good things are happening there. Sure, we've got more to do, but some really good things are happening. Nursing, I don't know if you've seen what we used to call the child care center over there, but it's being developed. It's growing. It's developing in a way that is going to really expand our capacity to meet the needs. And being one who has recently received, I chuckled when I saw the person doing the IV a while ago. They actually didn't hurt me in any time that they did that work. And I know they were trained here. Thank God. I'm a big baby when it comes to pain. And so the point being is that when we look at this thing and consider it, just understand that what we do is important, and what we learn is important, because at the end of the day, it goes out and affects real people like you and me. We created the Lpn Bridge to the Adn Program. We had that at one time. Frankly, it failed. It wasn't set up properly. I've got new leaders in there that are doing that now, and we're beginning to have process and progress with it. And we expect great things out of that program. And they're continuing to enhance and improve that program. This facility will help them do that. I like to do this and watch Mark Soros and Murtis Worth. We've agreed, I've agreed, and so therefore they have agreed to have 800 people in that program and graduate 400 people a year to meet the needs of this healthcare community. And the numbers, I've made a joke about you, Carl, and Vince Castano yesterday afternoon late. I said, I just spent from 8 o'clock in the morning to about 12:45 locked up in my office with Vince Castano and Carl Mitchell looking at data. And you could have heard the people moan. But what that data showed, there's still opportunity in nursing. There's still opportunity in so many other things. We just need to step up to the plate, and they're doing it. And that's an important thing. What we're doing with WOMAC, what we're doing with First Health, what we're doing with Cape Fear Valley Health Systems is an indicator of that. So we continue to work that. Public service, goodness gracious. We were the ones who were selected to try out the new curriculum for law enforcement agencies as they develop and define themselves and do what they do. We're doing that here at FTCC in concert with those at the system office. Jeff Zach, you are the Energizer Bunny. I hear about you being everywhere. You don't think I know about you, but I do. And I appreciate your efforts. They are really, your programs are developing, they're filling, and so forth. And it's that kind of dedication and that kind of effort, I think, that really matters. But the most important thing is, at the end of the day, it's the people you touch. It's the heart-to-heart thing. I hope you saw in that success video today. It's not academic to academic. It's not institution to person. It's heart to heart. And you're demonstrating the heart in what you're doing. I would encourage others to do that as well. It's well appreciated. Give Jeff Zach a hand. About the time we get, about the time we think we've got good things going, they change the law on us. They've done it again. Certainly in early childhood, where's Linda? Early childhood education, they've done that. They've done it in funeral science, funeral service education, and so forth. And yet that's the normality. That's the norm. You just have to adapt and figure out how to serve the needs and go on. And we'll have to do that some again. But is that new? It's not new. It's happened every year to us. And so we just adapt and find a way to win and go forward. Winners at Skills USA, Debbie Crocker and Yara Sanchez, I tell you what, so proud of these people when they go out there and demonstrate. Now, this isn't just talking about what might be. These people actually have to demonstrate that they know what they're doing. And when you come back with first place, second place, or third place, or even fourth place finishes over a wide variety of folks, we've got a lot to be proud of there in public service. Student advising centers. Have you ever heard the word, you don't wait for the mountain for Muhammad to come to the mountain? Sometimes, well, whatever that statement is. Anyway, we go to where they live. And so we made that change this year. And we're going into many of the different areas, many of whom you see here on the University Transfer Advising Center. It opened last fall in Horace, Sisk. It serves people in arts and humanities and math sciences because they're, like birds of a feather flock together. So they need the help that it takes to get the job done. When you look at allied health and nursing students, the same thing there. And then when you look at career and technical education pathways, we're going to do that. Don't tell me it can't be done. It can be. And the difference is we go to where they live and what they are comfortable with and what they're interested in. And it's beginning to have positive results in many, many different ways. So I'm really an advocate of those and taking the work and the help to where the people are. Extended summer registration hours. You guys have been working on that very well. I don't like lines, but I'll take lines now to make sure we get people served. That's poor English, but you know what I mean. We remain open 7 a.m. and beyond. I come in after I've been out and traveling and you folks are here and you're here sometimes when I leave. And so we've had Saturday registrations, more to go. But the point being, the truth is we need to serve people, and without people, we don't need to be here. And so our availability matters. It matters. I'll tell you, I made a phone call to one of my fellow presidents this year. I needed an answer on something, and I will this summer. And I am ashamed to tell you how many offices I called. I called 8 offices on that campus, to include the president's office, to include the president's assistant, to include the vice president for academic affairs, to include their finance officer. Anybody want to venture a guess as to how many answers I got? 0. 0. And we wonder why we're losing enrollment. It doesn't work any other way. It never has, it never will. So the point being is where people go the extra mile to do what we're trying to do here and do it consistently well, it matters, and it matters greatly. Well, high school connections. You got Chris here, Terry Sanford High School student. You got Danya, Reed Ross High School student, I'll tell you what, I don't want to be like one of these colleges that has 70 to 80% of their student body in 2 areas. One is high schools, the other is prisons. We don't have to worry about the prisons because we don't have any. We do some service to a youth place here and some of the things at the county jail, but not much. We don't rely on that. There are some colleges that when the General Assembly looks at that and they say enough is enough, they're out of business. We have a mix of people, to include adults, to include high school students. We're up to about 17% right now. Last count I had was about 17%. We need to do better than that, but we don't need to get to 70 or 80%. And the point being is that that's the fastest way to small numbers, so we can't get things done. So, we registered 400 students and 674 courses this summer, but last year I thanked a group yesterday. You helped save my family about $27,000. My granddaughter was invited to go to North Carolina State. And it's a $27,000 a year bill to do that. And she went as a sophomore because of the work that she took here and because of the work she took at her local high school. And so she went in as a sophomore. And what that really means, that's real money, real time. But more importantly, she goes in confident she can handle collegiate level work. And that's because of each of you and what you did. She navigated our process, even though she had a call a couple of times, and got the mama bear involved in it. And she got after me, and I said, I don't know, I'm gonna find out. But the point, and we made some changes because of it. It was confusing. So my point being is when we work with these students, it's a good thing, because if they don't come directly to us, they may come back to us later on. And so that's an important element. I'm proud of what we do with our students. We need to do more, but we're making real progress. Jumpstart. 44% of our high school graduates are in cohorts. Why do you do cohorts? Anybody want to tell me? Birds of a feather flock together. And you get comfortable and you get confident, and then you move forward together and you can help each other. I've never seen it any better than I've seen it in the healthcare arena. That's what they do. They do it quite well. And so the point being, when you look at all these things, 73% passed both classes, 89% passed ACA, and 75% passed math and English. Hey, that's headed in the right direction. That's a good way to go. Unfortunately, we and everybody else in the United States, everywhere, really the world, has experienced this. There was a net loss in learning because of COVID. One thing we have learned, I was talking to the math faculty a while ago, but I want to tell everybody, there are some courses we can go out there and online works really well. According to the evidence, our online doesn't work well at all. So we're considering what we're going to do to modify that for our targeted population. In some places it works extremely well. Different population perhaps. So the point being is that please don't do this. For those of you who are online, please don't do this. I'm a pilot, so I know how to put on an automatic pilot. Sit back, I can't believe I just thought about this. Don't do what Sam Walton did, the founder of Walmart, with a friend of mine one time who used to go with him figuring out where he was going to put the next Walmart store. There were 4 people in his airplane. It was a twin engine prop plane at the time. And he was flying around, and Sam Walton was the pilot. And as the story was relayed to me by my banker friend, he went in and he said, yeah. He said, I was up there and Sam asked me if I wanted to be in a co-pilot seat. He said, yeah. But he said, I don't know how to fly. He said, it doesn't matter. He said, I'm going to fly. They got up 10, 15, 20,000 feet, whatever it was. They were flying somewhere. And Sam says, I've got to go to the bathroom. And he looked at the guy and said, you take over. The guy said, I don't know how to fly an airplane. What are you talking about? He said, yeah, it's okay. It's on automatic pilot. Well, Sam got up, sure enough, went to the back of the airplane, went to the bathroom. And when you're going across the country, you're talking to different air traffic control centers. And about that time says, whatever the aircraft tail number was, this is Memphis control, and you're supposed to come back and say, Memphis control, this is whatever the tail number is. And you communicate with you. They may be putting you on a different track or a different height or whatever it might be. And the guy didn't know what to do. And so he pressed the button on his thing and he says, Memphis control, hello? That's not a good thing. Memphis control came back and they named the tail sign again and said, are you the pilot? And guy says, no, I'm just a passenger. And there's silence. And he goes through there and Memphis control comes in. These guys and gals are serious now. Some of them talk so fast you can't understand, but they're serious for good reason. And the point being, he says, where is the pilot? He said, he's back there in the bathroom. Long silence. This air traffic controller came back and he said, sir, what's your name? And he told him. How many passengers do you have on board or souls? And he told him. And he says, when your pilot gets out of the bathroom, would you please have him call me? And Sam Walton got out of the bathroom, came walking back up there, got in the pilot seat again, and the guy told him what had happened. And so Sam Walton calls, according to the story, Memphis Control. And he says, this is tail number whatever, at whatever the altitude was, responding to your request for a call. Long silence. Answered very quickly, but then a long silence. He says, are you the pilot of this aircraft? Yes. What is your pilot's number? You are being rediverted to Memphis, Tennessee. And when you land, you will be met with an FAA official, and you will have everything in your possession that includes your license with you. Like a long story short, he got in trouble. Now, he got richer later on, got his license back and all that, but he got in trouble. Why? Because you've got to fly. You've got to do things according to the rules. And so you get into a jumpstart program and you start having program outcomes that are improving. You're doing the right things. When they don't improve, you need to make corrections. Memphis Air Center made corrections, and Sam got to be a better pilot because of it. My friend told him he never had to go through that again. Student activities and SGA. Marlena, stand up. Everybody that has anything to do with our SGA program, would you stand? Please stand. I want to tell you something. These folks do great things. Marlena, I think, and of course, Roderick, when you were, president of the N4 SGA, you experienced this as well. But one of the most important things, I was getting surgery somewhere or some kind of thing I had to do, but I think, David, you went with them to the General Assembly, or Mark, one of you. And you know what they heard? This was at the end of the legislative session when they're used to me. They talk to me all the time. But the thing that mattered to them is we had students in the room that could tell them their story. And Heather, you led that charge, and I appreciate you for it. She has done so much for our Student Government Association and our students overall. And Marlena, your leadership in helping her has been magnificent. Thank you so much. Please give them a round of applause. Pamela, I cannot pass this up. Would you stand, please? Now, it's not a student activity, but it was an office activity. Is that correct, Robin? When they went out and they had a stress day, is that what you want to call it? You are not going to violate the laws of physics. And so when you wrap yourself up in one of those little plastic balls and you're running against somebody that weighs 200 or 300 pounds, you're going to lose. Now, I don't know how far you went through the air when you hit, but you hurt yourself. So if you run into them in the future, run into them when they're not looking, not when they're running at you, okay? So she healed up well. Give her a round of applause. The laws of physics do matter. I mean, they do matter. But the truth being is we can have fun. We can work hard, but we can have fun as well. And that's what we want to do. All right. Skill Trades and Technology Expos. I'll tell you what, you look at these two people here, Tiffany Lassane and Marvin Price, they are doing so much in terms of what we're doing at this college and making sure that people out there who are making hiring decisions know that they can come here and hire good people, and they're doing it all the time. Our new Career and Education Success Center, which helps adult learners find learning and training and educational opportunities that fit their needs and goals. And sometimes we can help them with the establishment of those goals. Have you heard the old statement, success begets success? Sometimes you start small and you figure out you can get it done, and you can go to something bigger and something bigger and something bigger and more rewarding for you. That's what they're doing together. I'm so pleased with where they're headed. We need to do more, but the truth is we've come a long, long way. Tiffany was saying you've done a magnificent job. Marvin Price, as the head of our success coaches and all that, you're doing a remarkable job as well. I'm so pleased with what you two are doing. And you're beginning to gain momentum out there with the businesses that are out there, because they're beginning to come to us, talk to people like me. The HOPE program is one of them that we work with the county commissioners and Mark Soros has really taken the lead on that more than anyone else, but is engaged different teams in that process. Jolie, you've been involved in that significantly as well with your team. And, basically looking at adult learners 25 to 44. Guess who's the bulk of our enrollment here? When we got into that pilot with the Belk Center, it was like people were reinventing the wheel. And what it told me is that people that are in charge doing this research didn't really know what was going on. Now, we learned some things and we can do some things better. But the truth of the matter is we were already doing pretty well in this category, and we're continuing to do well. But putting a fresh approach on that 25 to 44-year-old group, that's one of the things we were talking about yesterday when you think you guys, I had it bad. These guys had it worse, because I will ask them questions. and they were able to explain them to me. So my point being is that when we look at this adult population is going to become more and more and more important to us all the time. We'll never rely on just the matriculating high school population unless we want to be very, very small. And the ones that do are very, very small. So the point being is that we're going to cover the entire gamut that we're responsible for. And then that HOPE program that helps us do it, the pre-apprenticeship program. We're not very good at apprenticeships here, but we're getting better. And the point is, this is a pre-apprenticeship program working with Blue Ridge Power and others in solar power construction. This went to high school students, in January of 2023, and there's more to be done. You just had a recent announcement here on what we're going to be doing more and more time. That is an odd picture there. It looks like I have a snake. I don't like snakes, so no, it's not a snake. It is actually a dragon that they built on a 3D printer. And that was one of the things that they were sharing in the new Makerspace laboratory is the hit. We were over there. Where's Marissa? Is she here in the library? She's over there. There they are. Waving. Y'all did really well. I was proud of you and the event you had over there the other day. And I told her, I said, well, when do you have one of these planned for your students? She said, well, I don't yet. I said, you need to. All right, Robin. So you need to understand this. When she comes to my discretionary account and talks to me, I've said yes. Now, I didn't give her an open checkbook, so we'll have to talk about that and negotiate it. But the truth is, we've got some remarkable things over in our library and learning center that we need to take advantage of. And what we know for a fact is when we've had students go over there, Tori, you've been involved with this a number of times with the Makerspace Lab over there and other things. The truth of the matter is when we go over and do that, great things happen. And so thank God that's not a snake or I wouldn't be holding it, but I might, but I'd have a death grip on it, The point being is that the art gallery over there and the things that we're doing is just remarkable. I'm going to recognize a young lady here there she is back there on the top row. Adelaide, is that it? No, it's not it. I'll get it in a minute. Student Learning Center, I want to tell you something. This is Student Learning Center and all the good folks over there. They work with our athletic department this year. You've heard all the stereotypical stories and what they do and how they do it and all that. Athletics sometimes can be very good. Most of the time they're not. And with what they've done with our learning center, and it's a kudu, Shannon, and everybody in our athletic departments here, where those coaches and others escort those students over there to get extra help when they need it. They've done something that's unheard of, and that is, they help the team learn, prepare for exams and one-on-one training and all that kind of thing. And quite frankly, the success they enjoyed in that, and our other students who are not athletes are demonstrating some real gains as well. So some great work going on over there. Collaboration, as you see here with a variety of these areas, is extraordinarily important. And that embedded tutoring strategy, I love it because I think that as faculty members, that's what we ought to be doing anyway. But the truth is where you can have extra help, that helps too. And so I have no idea what I just did, but I'm going to, all right, I'm going to punch this thing. You guys might have to come save me. So, all right, come help. So, and I'm almost through. That's the thing about it, that's the way I always do these things. So I'm not sure which one I need to punch here, but I'm about to lose everything. Okay, let me try this. No, I didn't do it, did I? That's the one I want right there. All right, give him a round of applause. I'll tell you what. Now you know why these folks go in a herd. That's because I need them when I need them. Well, that didn't work. Well, where's the page? I'll just punch that. Well, anyway, the point being, yeah, there you go. Well, where's the yes thing? Let me try that again. That's our athletics program. Yeah, this thing's not working now. Well, we jumped way up there. There you go. Stop. All right. This mentoring initiative here, I'll let you work on that. We started that a long time ago. It's called the Mighty Male Mentoring Program. Then they told me I couldn't call it male. We did anyway. but we had women in it and everything else. Then we changed the name to Yes. And the work that we're doing there is enormously important because young people that come in here and need help, need extra encouragement, need extra direction. It is helping. You saw some of those on that success video that we have, and we have so many other examples of success, all over the board because of things like this. You can see the opportunities, workshops on life skill development. We have successful people come in, from different backgrounds. And what people don't understand, and I would venture to say many people in here, if they knew where you started out, they would have not believed you. Many people have come from, way down the pack, but they found a way to navigate and succeed as time goes on and as they move forward. All right, now let's see if this, nope, that doesn't work here for some reason. You pull you up a chair right here. He's my clicker. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and let's go to the next slide, please. We're not going to do any more of this. You're sitting right here with me.
Okay.
All right. It's too hard for him to show me the page down and page up, So anyway, food pantry. Where is Daisy Fox? Where are you, Daisy Fox? Stand up. And where is Marlena? Stand up. And I wish we had Barbara Hill Jones here because she was one of the original progenitors. Is that a word? I don't even know. You and she birthed this thing on the clothes closet a long time ago. I don't know if that's appropriate or not. Don't know. But you guys created it, and you bugged me to death until I agreed to do it. And I appreciate you for it. Since then, we've created a food pantry and so forth that serve the needs of students. We don't understand always the great needs our students have, and yet you guys have gone the extra mile. Please give Daisy Fox a round of applause for all the work that she and if I can just keep her from trying to do gymnastics exercises out on the sidewalks, I'll be in good shape. But Daisy, I really appreciate all you've done over the years to initiate and start this, and you're taking a well-deserved retirement from that and passing the baton to Marlena and Sandy, who are going to take that and they're going to put it next to the food pantry because that way we get one trip instead of 2 or 3 over different places. And what I'm going to tell you is it would not have happened had it not been for Daisy Fox. And so thank you, Daisy. I appreciate you. Marlena, no pressure, but you've got big shoes to fill. And she's doing it magnificently. And Sandy, stand up back there. She's around, she's chasing things all over town to include food. By the way, I've got stuff in my truck you need to take. But the point being is that we're going to try to make that more convenient for everybody. And so that will be, they'll be close to each other and they're going to renew these things. Now, I think Carl sent something out the other day, or somebody did, about the opportunity to use some of your leave or whatever. The difficulty Daisy had, she had to go ahead and work with people who are work-study students and all that, and the schedules didn't always line up. But the point being, if you have an opportunity, and talk to me about it. Your community service leave, if this is the way you want to use it, get with Marlena. She'll get you on the schedule. That way we'll be able to be more consistent on keeping it open and available for students than we've been able to do before. And so the point being, that's a major step that we didn't know we could do actually, but the point being we can. And now, so that being said, please support it. And that means if you've got clothes, I'm getting close to not having to have a full closet full of suits and dress shoes and things like that. I'm gonna wear jeans and boots and that kind of thing. So you can expect a lot of suits coming to you from me. They're short and fat, but they're mine. Anyway, the point being, and then go through these things and because it really does help our students who come out and may not have ever had a suit in their entire life. They may not have had something that they're confident enough in to go and do an interview if that's what's required. And sometimes it can be something as simple as just a nice shirt. And that would be appropriate for some types of jobs. And so we have at our fingertips sometimes far more than we think we do, and our willingness to share it, gently used things is important. Food, it's not just food, it's sanitary items and things of that nature that are also very important. It's not that people are wanting a handout, they're wanting a hand up. And if they're willing to do what they do to come, we're willing to do what we need to do to help them. This is true all over the United States, it's not just here. But there's no greater pleasure to know that you had a direct implication and direct help. Next slide, please. I'm glad it's not just me. He tried to do it and it didn't work either. Athletics program, we're well into that program yet. Those in athletics, please stand up. I know your coaches probably are not here, but athletics, Shannon, you're back there, and at these outlaws here, I'll tell you what, they work tirelessly. We've got about 100 people in that program, and it is the bane of some president's existence. And to be honest, it's been the bane of my existence on a few occasions. But the point being, these people have worked so hard. And when you look at Region 10, all academic honors, sure, I want to win. But the truth is, when you look at a 3-point GPA and higher, and you look at 56 students in the fall of 21, you look at 46 student athletes in the spring of 22, I am so darn proud of that, because it's not me, it's not them, it's you. It's our faculty and staff who are working together to help these young people. That doesn't even count the ones that had a 2.0 or better. And the ones that had to go home were very few. And I mean, probably less than 3, is that right? Because they didn't make grades, and we don't play, and they know that. That's the first thing we talk to them about. So that is getting attention. And our number one thing is their grades are first, the athletics are second. They're here because of the athletics, because they love to play the game. But you've got to keep them here to where they can understand that there's a greater opportunity out there than even the game. And when you look at our young man down there, Johnny Hughes, first one that's ever signed a pro contract with us, even though he's playing in Cyprus, that's literally a pro contract, and it helps prepare them for the potential coming back to the NBA, and that does happen. And so we're making progress with that, and the continuity and the consistency. Most importantly, your commitment to these young people is to be celebrated. Next slide, please. There he is. You know, would you stand up for a minute? William Perry. I got here 15 years ago, and we had a bookstore just like all other bookstores, and the world started changing, and we could hold them hostage. They came to us, and we made them buy our books, and because of the way we needed to do it, we had to put a pretty high premium on that. And then the world changed. And then places like Pierce and places like Amazon, and I go on and on and on, started coming into the play. And so when we changed that, people retired and moved on, and we started changing that. I said, I want somebody who can come in here with a retail background, who can honestly look at what the needs are out there and brand this college in a way that it needs to be branded. And William Perry, you have fit the bill. There's no one more dedicated than you and your staff to doing this. When I go out to those ball games, periodically or different places, William Perry is there. And you're the lead. You're the head guy in that whole operation over there. But every time I look or hear or see, it's William Perry over there. And so you are a hero in my book, my friend. And you, I see all these shirts in here. Did you print these?
Not yet. Hopefully in the spring.
Okay. Hopefully. I don't know what that means, but they didn't get your machine yet. But I want to give accolade to him, because he is available to faculty and staff. He's available to our students. And you're doing a yeoman's job at doing the things that need to be done at this college. Please give William Perry a round of applause. True story. I think I may have told you this in the spring, but we had our vendor after COVID come in and say they didn't want to service anymore. They didn't want to make food anymore. And so, quite frankly, they went out there and we said, okay, you're going to leave us. Now, they wanted the vending machine business. I said, not only no, but heck no. I said, if we get $175,000 a year off that just on your override, then if we did all of it, just think what we're going to get, after expenses. And so Richard Lee and Robin Deaver stand up, and I don't know the gentleman who is running that for you, if he's here, stand up. But we got into the vending machine business. All the drink machines are in. Snack machines, are you? 12 left today. They're what? Did you hear what he said? He said the snack machines are on the road. He's been telling me that for 3 months. And it doesn't matter if it's a part for the fire rescue or a chiller that we're replacing or snack machines. They're on the road. Now, one of these days, I'm going to hold him to account on that, but that's a major job. And so they have put those in place for you as we've had to move things around. As you know, we have in our culinary department some renovations going on. We're moving things over in our cafe, and again, William Perry comes to the rescue with sandwiches and everything else. And we've got food trucks all around. This stuff just doesn't happen. It takes coordination and cooperation. Please give Richard and Robin a hand for all the work they've done on that. Go ahead, next slide, please. Thank you. There you go. I just talked about that. Major projects. Help me out. I've heard two numbers. I know one for sure, but did it go up since I was paying attention? I've heard one number of $90 million in capital projects. Okay. We have $90 million in capital projects going on at this college right now. That is significant. That's not happening in many other places. And what that means is that our programs are able to expand. We're able to repair our buildings. We're able to put roofs on our buildings. We're able to pave parking lots. We're able to do things like that in the way that we're doing. And one of the things that we're most proud of, and quite frankly, as of about 2 weeks ago, with our new Swiftwater training facility, we may be serving people from 8 states. And that doesn't even include Steve Drew. Steve Drew's back there in the corner. Raise your hand, Steve. Give him a round of applause. Richard Lee, round of applause, stand up. Richard Lee, you couldn't be done without you. Robin Deaver, stand up. These folks are doing all this work behind the scenes that you don't see, but it doesn't happen. Now, when you look at this Regional Fire and Rescue Training Center, if you can't go on it yet necessarily, but when you ride by it, that thing is significant. And more is to come. That thing is developing. We're looking at August 30th as you'll have things basically open, and then we're looking probably September 15th or somewhere in that neighborhood. What? September 5th and 6th. Okay, that's the official date. Now, unless he tells me, well, there's something else in transit, or whatever. But we're looking at September 5th and 6th being a special day. And I would encourage every single one of you to go out there if you can, because many of these people you encounter, if they're not students now for you, they could be students in the future. Now, the rest of that story is that we think we're going to have so much demand for this, not only for our local fire rescue people, but at the same time, all over the eastern coast of not only North Carolina, but Virginia and South Carolina, maybe into Georgia. When the Swiftwater Rescue Facility is in, we already know that we're getting one of my guys I used to work with out in Oklahoma was the head of one of the Senate committees and just signed go ahead, next slide, please, a thing requiring, I think, National Guardsmen in 8 states or 10 states, whatever it is, to come and use our Swiftwater Rescue Training Facility for their training. That's 144,000 people. And so the point being is the demands on us, but also the opportunities are going to be there for us to tell our story and perhaps extend that to where people want to take advantage of what we're doing. And so that thing is coming. We've not broken ground on it yet, but it's being in the approval process, should be able to start on that in the next month at least. Early anticipation looks like it will be open in January of 23. I'll probably be a forgotten memory when it's open, but I'll tell you what, I think it's going to bring something that will really add to what we're doing at FTCC. I cannot tell you, just in my world, the number of people with this coupled with what we're doing in our areas of fire rescue training, and you add that to our IT and our cybersecurity and our healthcare programs. And I'm telling you, we are making a mark, not only in the state, but in the world. Next slide, please. Well, I can do that. You just have to punch that one thing. You don't have to be on stage anymore.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. He's going to pay me back one of these days. When I'm not president anymore, I'm going to go out and my tires are going to be flat or something, but might do that while I'm still president. I don't know. But the point being, with Title IX and making sure we have equal opportunity for women, we went ahead and decided to build a softball field. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't particularly want to do it, but we did. And so I can tell you the way that thing is coming about now, that's going to be, in my mind, if not a campus, certainly another educational spot for us to do the things. And we're getting a lot of accolade now, not only across our community here, from everybody from county commissioners and high school people. As a matter of fact, Steve Driggers, I just signed something the other day where Cumberland County Schools is going to be working with us. One of the universities is already wanting to work with us in some ways. But the point being is that this is something that will make us a little more special than we already are. And so it grows and commit in our commitment to helping female athletes come in and compete effectively as well, without having to always go beg, borrow, or steal. And in some cases, that's what we were having to do. And so I'm tired of that nonsense. And so we went out there. It cost more than I anticipated, but Robin has found the money for me, so we are going to go ahead and go. So when we open that thing officially, I would encourage you to come out there. And what we're looking at is not only baseball games and softball games, not just going out and hosting different people who are from universities and other community colleges, but we want tournaments out there. We've already had jazz festivals out there. We've had Jeep festivals, motorcycle festivals, and all that. And if you have anything you want to promote, Steve Driggers is the guy to talk, because he will sell you some advertising. And so the point being, that thing's going to improve out there. We're about to put a new parking lot on it. If you've been out there, you know it's a cheap, crumbly parking lot, so we're going to fix that. But the point being, it should be a place of pride for you. So if it's in IT, if it's in graphic arts, if it's in business administration, if it's in culinary or hospitality, if it's in horticulture and other things, certainly to include our technical trades, there are opportunities out there for us to use those as living laboratories. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to stop approving, Pam, other things for people to go and lay bricks and build roofs and so forth. And we're going to start using that on ourselves because they can learn more doing stuff like that for us, in my opinion, than we can doing some of that other stuff. So other stuff is valuable, but I think we have an opportunity to do that. I want to ask a question. Do you know two of the best built buildings we have on this campus? You know who built them? Our students and faculty. Print shop being one of them, one of the most solidly built places we have over there. And so there's no reason in the world not to do that. So we're going to be looking more at that as time goes on. It actually worked. We went out and saw what's rated as the #1 truck driving facility in the nation, according to the Professional Truck Drivers Association. And what we were planning was very close. We made some modifications. We're going to do some things out behind the VA, the new VA center out there. That's where that will go. And it should be a state-of-the-art, #1 in the country place to go. There was a time I never dreamed I'd be in the truck driving business, but the point being is we need to, because it's a little thing called the supply chain. And even today, the supply chain is struggling. And so the opportunities are significant there for six-figure incomes for people willing to work. And if they're not willing to be over the road, significant incomes above $50,000 a year if they want to just stay local. So the point being is that there are real opportunities there. And so when you take a look at all these things that we're doing together, the nursing building, the culinary department that's being replumbed and refixed on the flooring over there, and the other things that need to go on. Where's Kelly Gold? Back there, you're doing a great job leading that. By the way, you set a new standard for our board of trustees. I want you to know that. I asked her, a year ago? Oh, there you go, Nicole. Oh, there you go. All those guys. You guys stand up back there. They're the unsung heroes and so many others. We ask them to do everything, and they're whether it's at a trustees meeting, which is the first time I've kind of exercised that authority. I did it last year because I was not satisfied with what we were providing to our trustees at their different meetings. They just were not up to par. But you folks stepped in, and I'm telling you, you've set the new standard. And even now, the ones that we hire to come in here cannot keep up with you. And so I want to thank you personally for that. And that's our board of trustees, by the way, that helped sign. I signed the checks for everybody here. But the point is, they let me do it and help me do it. And so we want to keep them. You ever heard that statement, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy? If those trustees ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And so, and that, we're the English teachers. Anybody pass out back there when I just said that? But the point being, it's one of those things that is important. And you guys stepped up and did it. And I'm delighted that you want to go into newer facilities over there that are refurbished and ready to go. And we just ask you to continue doing the great work you've done. Nicole, you've done, what's the chef's name? Gosh, I just lost it. See, I'm learning. It takes me a while, but chef is a big deal in the cooking world. So these chefs, have done a magnificent job and will continue to do so. And by the way, some of the people that they have in their classroom have won championships for the entire United States Army, which is a big deal if you've not ever been a part of that, and for many others throughout the country. So a lot going on there, a lot to do, a lot of opportunity. MIS, don't go playing bumper ball anymore, Pam, with these guys. But I'm telling you, they have been enormously busy. Y'all don't see what they do. You don't know the demands that we put on. And the moment, and I'm one of them, the moment something doesn't go right, it's not just with my computer mic, but my phone. I killed my phone the other day, and the first person I called, Mike, what did I do? And sure enough, I killed it. I'll fess up, Mark, on that. I killed it. But the point being, we ask these people to do all kinds of things, but there's a new system coming in, and we've had to do that to get better at what we do. But at the same time, we've had to do that to get more safe at what we do. So we worked with Arctic Wolf for cybersecurity vulnerability training and trying to harden ourselves in a lot of ways in terms of what we were doing. And then they designed and implemented the Disability and Support Services Accommodation generator, among other things. And that's not even counting what we've been doing to try to reorganize and try to strengthen the bench and try to get people in the right spots over time, working with a third-party contractor, which is never easy in itself, and then giving them a new boss named Robin Deaver, who's at the vice presidential level, and then having all those things. You guys and gals have been really in the midst of a lot of things. I couldn't be more proud of you. When others, we had about 8 colleges in the state a few weeks ago that went down on a Thursday or Friday, and it was just before you had to have your year-end reports in, about 12 hours or 24 hours prior. We did something improper and we made a mistake, honest mistake. We lost everything we had, everything. It could not have been recoupled and recaptured were it not for Robin and Pam and her team, Mike and your teams. It couldn't have been done. And we called, as I do, and I tell them, well, we might be late. We've not been late before, and I don't want to start now. And then with the help of Kathy, what's her name? What? Kathy somebody. My ears aren't as good as they used to be. But Kathy at the system office, they worked intimately with finance. They worked intimately with our IT folks. Were you the guy that was on the, what was your, James, okay. And James was there with them all the time. Not because I told him to, not because I didn't know enough to know to tell him. But the point being, he was there. That's what I want. That's what I expect, is that people step into the gap and make things good. We got it in 5 minutes before the deadline. 8 other colleges still don't have it in. And so it's a real commendation. Please give all of them a round of applause. Well, I was going to do that. My finger stayed on too long, so I just blew right by finance. But I want to tell you, I'm not even going to mess with it. I'll blow it up again. Our finance area is par excellence. I mean, there is no one better than what these people do. The dedication, I just talked to you, James, you were a part of that, and others. But we could not do, none of us could do what we do. We had a 3.5% requirement this year from the General Assembly that came out for the full-time faculty. We were able to get that done in the July payroll. That doesn't just happen. There are many colleges out there today that still don't have that done. Robin Deaver and her team has it done, and they did it on your behalf. Every full-time faculty member, every full-time staff member, so you had the benefit of an additional 3.5%. Part-timers were notified earlier this month that they'll be getting theirs in, I think, the next iteration. That doesn't just happen. It takes really dedicated people to make that happen. And they're doing it on your behalf and my behalf. And so, you know, I want to tell you, it's not always glamorous and glitzy or anything like that, but the truth of the matter, it matters. Trojan Fit 5K run. I had my 80, you're going to love this, Sandy. I had my 85 and 86-year-old couple of doctors that are about to retire who ran in this thing last year. You know what they told me the other day when I went to get checked out? Said, oh, we're looking forward to it. We're going to come sign up again. When's the sign-up list? And I said, I'll get it to you. But the point being is that was enormously successful. We expect more success this year. And again, it's because everybody works together to make it happen. Look at the foundation. You guys have taken the foundation to a new level, and I really appreciate it. The Rose Garden, you can see the things up there on the 50th anniversary Rose Garden. You know, they call it ours, but the truth is it's Fayetteville, but it really is ours because we're the ones who maintain it. Amanda, you guys stand up back there to do that. Ashley, Amanda, all of you stand up who do that back there on the grounds. Everybody in grounds, stand up. Thank you. We are so proud of what you all do. I mean, the work you do day in and day out is beyond measure, and it's represented here. She could not do what she does in the foundation. I could not do what I do as a president. We could not do it as faculty and staff were it not for the wonderful environment you all create. It's an ongoing battle. It doesn't stop. Richard will tell me that his worst days are when I say, let's go for a ride. And the first thing out of my mouth when we get in the car is I said, what do you see? And when I ride down there, and to his credit, I'd been here on the weekend, and I rode by and I saw the state of some of our fences. And I said, I'm going to talk to Richard about that when I get in. And one of the first things I talked about on Monday morning, I said, Richard, what do you see? He said, I'm ahead of you. And he was. They were painting the gates. My point being is that matters. Our signage matters. We've got some work to do on that. Our signage matters, our grounds matter, our parking lots matter, our security matters, and all the things that we do in concert with each other. I could not be more pleased with what you're doing with the foundation. And by the way, your support. Dadgummit. All right, what am I? That doesn't work. All right, clicker, take that back one. You see, yeah, there you go. I don't know what he did. But anyway, 475 people participated in this campus fund drive last year. That was a record. And it's a real tribute to each of you. We're going to do that again this year. We're looking at what 500 is the target. The truth of the matter is, without that, we would not have been able to help people last year who really needed the help. That's what it boiled down to. And by the way, it's not just students. Sometimes we have faculty members that fall into deep trouble and they don't have any other help. And so we help them with that. So your generosity and your philanthropy on that is well placed and well used. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm going backwards now. Okay, there you go. I told you about Austin, Texas a little while ago. Here are the people that presented. And again, when you have the likes of Carnegie Mellon and others that come up and want to partner with you because of what you've done and what you've said with respect to IT and some of the things that y'all are doing in that arena, that's tall cotton. That's a country boy way of saying that's real good. And the point is that when we go out and do that, and it's not just there, we're getting that everywhere. And so the accolades that you're getting, whether it's in dental assisting or it's in system security and analysis, and recognized all over the country as being the #1 innovator last year. And Annette Previtt, presenting what she did, Michelle Walden presenting what she did. I get these requests all the time to go to these trips. But if you're not learning something and you're not bringing it back, I'm not going to approve them. If you're not presenting, I'm probably not going to approve them. I might, but there's not going to be too many of them. We need to tell people what we're doing because people don't know. And if we're silent, they don't know. More kudos. There she is. You didn't know I was Chris. You didn't know I was going to do this to you, did you? Stand up. Congratulations. Now go learn how to lead. But she was leading me the other day when I was over at the open house. And I told her, I said, well, I need to come back and go to class again. I mean, I took, how to do this a long time ago. She has more access, the library over there has more access to resources than you can imagine. I think what I was reviewing last year is 3.5 million hits on your, the websites coming out of Fayetteville Tech. That means your students. That means our faculty and staff that are using this thing. David Sullivan will tell you that he can do anything based on our library resources over there that anybody can do anywhere with respect to the law libraries. And so it takes somebody who knows how to do that. And I've obligated her to teaching me how to do it because I'm still of the old school. And thank God, I'm a little past that now, but not too far. But she's going to teach me how to do that because I'm going to do some writing and so forth after I retire. The point being, it's great people like this that makes sense. Kimberly Allen, Samantha Kennedy, and all they're doing there, good grief. We've got a lot to celebrate. We just need to continue on. So congratulations. Kimberly and Samantha, are they here? Are they here? Give them a round of applause anyway. We probably have housekeepers out there sweeping things up and moving things out, but housekeepers, anybody, housekeepers and maintenance in here today, please stand and be recognized. Are you here? Anybody? Give them a round of applause anyway. They're out there trying to keep us all warm. And Richard, thank you for having the foresight to give them the certificates of achievement and letting them know that we appreciate who they are. We try to say that all the time. I hope you tell them that because there's nothing very sometimes sexy about what they do. But I'll tell you what, you do without them, you find out how much you need them. Extraordinarily important. Scott Dorney, I see you walking back there. Scott Dorney runs the North Carolina Military Business Center. They are us. And they cover 100 counties in North Carolina. And I am telling you, they are par excellence. There is no one that does it better than they do. And so, Scott, thank you so much for the leadership that you provide and the work that your team provides and the ongoing work because they help generate jobs for North Carolinians and others. They help support these military bases. He was in, good Lord, where were you yesterday? Camp Lejeune and then somewhere else and somewhere else after that. Point being, all those things come together to create jobs for North Carolinians predominantly. So the point is, we need to continue that. Give Scott Dorney and his team a round of applause. It's always, I said it earlier in the presentation today, that we always have places to go and things to do. And when you get started, there's always somewhere else to go. And when you set goals for yourself, you have opportunity to experience more, benefit more, and help other people more. And so you have Brian Crouch here, Dr. Crouch, congratulations. I could never get into Central Michigan, by the way, in the early days, but that's something to be said for that PhD in math education. Congratulations, Roger Goodwin. Stand up and be recognized. I mean, this is a guy that started off as a student, came in, became our Student Government Association president, became a state president on 2 occasions, as I recall. And was got all kinds of accolades from the State Board of Community College when he was serving in that role. So congratulations. Gerald Page, Sarah Camacho, and Don Gillis. Are you here? Are you here? Any of those? Yeah, stand up, stand up. Stand up, Roderick. Is Dr. Crouch here? Oh, there he is back there. You guys keep standing up. I'm gonna give you some exercise. I've been having to stand too long. I'm about finished, but the most important thing that we're going to do is talk about you folks that went the extra mile to make this happen. And where's Sarah? Did I see somebody pointing over here? What? I can't hear you. Well, stand up. If you got something over there, stand up. I mean, what are you hiding for? Anyway, but Kat Adams, she is maybe here in the net, stand up. And then the point is, these people went the extra mile. And it's stand up, Kat. We already caught your picture a number of times, but the point being is congratulate these people on going the extra mile and learning more and applying more as they've learned it. Thank you. Congratulations. If you're working to help FTCC succeed, you're helping to work our students succeed. And you saw that on our video when we started this out today. And quite frankly, I would encourage everyone to understand that we all make a difference. This young lady on the front desk up there started out in housekeeping, and now she's in admissions and loving it, and she's doing a great job. And the same thing is true of everybody here. And it's a choice. It's our choice as to whether we want to do that. Everyone makes a difference. It's not the president alone. It's not the vice presidents alone. It's not the faculty alone. It's not the staff alone. It takes every single one of us. And by the way, it takes the students as well, Heather. Working in that amalgamation of energy and that intellect and all that, where we work together, it makes a difference, because we're not going to be able to save everybody. I'd love to say that, and it is to some degree, survival of the fittest. But what that really means is it's survival of the ones who are most dedicated, who are most goal-oriented, who are most motivated, and those who are helped the most when they run into difficult times. And so we all have the ability to make that happen. Our students are our mission. And as I leave you after 15 years of service here as your president, I want to tell you I'm extraordinarily proud of all you've done. There's more to be done. And they've gone through the interviews. Many of you have participated in those over the last couple of weeks. Our board is going to make a decision on Monday as to who my successor is going to be. And then they'll make that recommendation to the state board, and then they'll evaluate it. They're already evaluating the candidates from what I understand. But the point being is that regardless of who you get, I would encourage you to support them the way you've supported me. That is not lightly said, and I hope it's not lightly received, because these complex organizations don't just happen. And they just don't fall into place. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of people with expertise in different categories. It takes a lot of self-evaluation to see, are you doing the best you could do? Can you get better? Because if we sit and stay idle, we're not going to get better. And if you're not improving, you're losing. And so the point being is that it's a situation to where that obligation falls to all of us. And as your president, I'm the one out there in front all the time. I'm the one making the arguments with the county commissioners or the legislators at the federal and state levels, not to include just our own, but others. I'm the one representing us with all the different presidents throughout the state, to include university presidents. I'm on the special committees with people because they care about what we say and how we say it. My point being, I get to be the face of so much. But the reality is you're the ones who make the difference with respect to the students. And I don't care if you're in a faculty role or a staff or a professional role, it doesn't matter. You are important to the success of our students. When we ever forget the success of our students is our driver for being here, we're irrelevant. It's time for us to consider something else. I'm about burned up. I'll be 76 years old in January, and so I've given all I can give. I've been at this for about 50 some odd years. And I have been with some exceptionally competent and capable and motivated people, not just in education and business and higher education and government and military. I've been with some of the best of the best. But the point being is I can honestly say that from an educational perspective, some of the best are in this room, many of you. As a matter of fact, the vast majority of you. My point being is we always are going to try to get better at what we do. But if we ever forget that we live, breathe, and exist to serve those students, to help them get to where they're capable of getting, then we've lost our way. I pray you don't lose your way. I think you have a board and each other, and I think you have leadership that will help keep you reminded of that long after I'm a forgotten memory. But the point being, what you do matters. What you do counts. And it's just like the people that we recognized early on. You see, you are creating legacies today as well. And the legacies, not that they'll ever be able to call your name, not that they'll ever be able to tell what you did. And faculty members, they may not even remember you and what you taught them. But the net result of all of our collective effort has informed, improved, and prepared those people for not only greater confidence, but greater opportunity. That's what you're about. It's more than a job. It's more than a career. You're literally defining the future of not only this country, but the world. And the issue is the way we define that, we're going to be accountable for that someday. We're accountable for it now. But the truth is, we're but a mist in the grand scheme of things as people. We live, we contribute, we pull away from, and then our time comes to move on. That means we die. The question is, what are we going to leave behind? The question is, how strong is that foundation that we're going to leave so that the people that come behind us, whether it's in 4 months, whether it's in 20 years or 100 years, we will be a part of that legacy. The question is, do we want it to be a good legacy or a bad legacy? I'm pleased to say that I think you're making contributions to a very good legacy. So thank you for what you do. Welcome back. Time to eat. Has it stopped raining yet? It's sprinkling. Well, people in North Carolina go out and play in the rain. So who's in charge? You going to let them go all at once? She's doing this. I don't have anything to do with this. This is her, okay?
We're going to go out because they set up outside, they set up in the lobby here. We're going to let the witnesses go first. And then there's tables set up under the breezeway and over there, or you can come back in here. We're going to see if we can band in. Don't know if we can do that. We'll party a little bit and be happy that we're back for the next year. So thank you to everybody.
Welcome back. Thank you.
You guys get to go last.